Africa's fight for freedom was long and hard. The journey towards independence was filled with struggles, sacrifices, and unwavering determination. For decades, African nations were under the yoke of colonial rule, their resources exploited and their people subjugated. The dream of freedom seemed distant, but the spirit of resistance was never extinguished. For many years, Europe controlled Africa, taking its resources and treating its people unfairly. The colonial powers imposed their will, extracting valuable minerals, crops, and labor, often with little regard for the well-being of the local populations. The exploitation was systematic and brutal, leaving deep scars on the continent. This was a very bad time. Families were torn apart, cultures were suppressed, and traditional ways of life were disrupted. The colonial rulers enforced harsh laws and used violence to maintain control. The people of Africa endured immense suffering, but their spirit remained unbroken. But even in bad times, people want to be free. The desire for self-determination and autonomy grew stronger with each passing year. Brave men and women rose up to challenge the colonial powers, organizing protests, strikes, and uprisings. They risked their lives for the dream of a free Africa. All over Africa, people wanted to control their own lives. The call for independence echoed from the deserts of the Sahara to the rainforests of the Congo. Leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, and Patrice Lumumba inspired millions with their vision of a liberated continent. The movement for independence was unstoppable. They didn't want to be ruled by other countries. The people of Africa demanded the right to govern themselves, to make their own decisions, and to shape their own destinies. The struggle for independence was not just a political battle. It was a fight for dignity and respect. From big cities to small villages, everyone started to feel the same way. The movement for independence united people from all walks of life. Farmers, workers, students, and intellectuals all joined hands in the fight for freedom. The sense of solidarity and shared purpose was palpable. The fight wasn't just about who was in charge. It was about reclaiming their identity and heritage. The people of Africa sought to revive their cultures, languages, and traditions that had been suppressed under colonial rule. The struggle for independence was also a cultural renaissance. It was about being proud of who they were and making their own choices. The journey to independence was long and arduous, but it was driven by an unyielding belief in the right to self-determination. As the colonial era came to an end, a new chapter in Africa's history began, marked by hope, resilience, and a renewed sense of pride. People resisted the European rulers in different ways. They used both peaceful and violent methods to show their defiance. Some communities chose to negotiate and use diplomacy, while others took up arms and fought bravely against the invaders. The spirit of resistance was strong and varied across the continent. In the early 1900s, there were fights all over Africa. These battles were not just random acts of violence, but were organized efforts to reclaim autonomy and protect their lands. The resistance movements were often led by charismatic leaders who inspired their people to stand up against the colonizers. These fights, even though they were often stopped quickly, showed that people really wanted to be free. The determination and courage displayed by these communities were remarkable. They were willing to risk everything, including their lives, to fight for their freedom and preserve their way of life. The Herero people in German Southwest Africa, for example, fought hard against the Germans. Their resistance was a significant event in the history of African defiance. The Herero warriors used guerrilla tactics and intimate knowledge of the terrain to challenge the better-equipped German forces. Another big fight was the 𝒔𝒉𝒔𝒊𝒔 rebellion in Tanganyika. This uprising was a powerful demonstration of unity and resistance. The 𝒔𝒉𝒔𝒊𝒔 warriors came from various ethnic groups, united by a common goal to expel the German colonizers from their land. Led by 𝒂𝒊𝒔𝒊𝒔, the 𝒔𝒉𝒔𝒔 warriors believed their magic would protect them from German bullets. Ongwale's leadership and the spiritual beliefs of the warriors played a crucial role in the rebellion. They believed that their sacred water, or 𝒔𝒔, would turn the German bullets into water, making them invincible. Even though they lost, it showed how strong people can be when they work together. The 𝒔𝒉𝒔𝒊𝒔 rebellion, despite its tragic end, left a lasting legacy of resistance and unity. It demonstrated the power of collective action and the unyielding spirit of the African people. These early fights, even though they weren't always successful, were the start of much bigger fights for freedom later on. They laid the groundwork for future generations to continue the struggle for independence. The bravery and sacrifices of these early freedom fighters inspired many and set the stage for the eventual liberation of African nations from colonial rule. As time went on, new African leaders appeared. These weren't just fighters, but smart and inspiring people. They understood how hard it would be to get free from Europe. Men like Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Patrice Lumumba, and Julius Nyerere gave people hope. These leaders, many of whom had gone to school in Europe, knew they had to work together. They knew that being African made them strong. They traveled all over, talking to people and asking other countries for help. Their message was simple: Africa is for Africans. Kwame Nkrumah, a great leader from Ghana, became very important in the fight. He believed that all Africans should work together. He famously said, "Our freedom means nothing unless all of Africa is free." Everyone in Africa listened to Nkrumah. He gave them hope. Because of him, Ghana became free from Britain in 1957, the first country in sub-Saharan Africa to do so. This was a huge moment for Africa and the world. Jomo Kenyatta led Kenya's fight for freedom from Britain. Born in 1897, Kenyatta was a key figure in the struggle for independence. He was not only a political leader, but also a symbol of hope and resilience for many Kenyans. His journey was filled with challenges, including imprisonment by the British colonial government. Despite these obstacles, Kenyatta remained steadfast in his mission to see Kenya free from colonial rule. Kenyatta was a good speaker and a smart leader. His speeches were powerful and resonated deeply with the people. He had a unique ability to connect with his audience, making them feel heard and understood. His leadership was marked by his strategic thinking and his unwavering commitment to the cause of independence. Kenyatta's vision for Kenya was one of unity and progress, and he worked tirelessly to bring this vision to life. He brought his people together to fight against being ruled by Britain. Kenyatta's ability to unite diverse groups under a common cause was instrumental in the success of the independence movement. He encouraged peaceful protests and negotiations, believing that unity and solidarity were the keys to achieving freedom. His leadership inspired many to join the struggle, and his efforts laid the foundation for a new, independent Kenya. He believed so strongly in freedom that he inspired everyone in Kenya. Kenyatta's passion for independence was contagious. His unwavering belief in the right to self-determination motivated countless individuals to stand up and fight for their rights. His speeches and actions instilled a sense of pride and determination in the hearts of many Kenyans, driving them to work together towards a common goal. Kenya became free in 1963, and Kenyatta became its first president. This was a monumental achievement, marking the end of colonial rule and the beginning of a new era for Kenya. As president, Kenyatta focused on nation building and development, striving to create a prosperous and united country. His leadership during this critical period was crucial in shaping the future of Kenya. Patrice Lumumba was important in the Belgian Congo. Born in 1925, Lumumba emerged as a prominent leader in the fight for independence. He was a passionate advocate for the rights of the Congolese people and played a key role in the movement to end Belgian colonial rule. Lumumba's vision for Congo was one of unity, sovereignty, and social justice. He was a strong leader who spoke out against how badly Belgium treated the people of Congo. Lumumba's speeches were fiery and filled with conviction. He highlighted the injustices and exploitation faced by the Congolese under Belgian rule, calling for immediate and unconditional independence. His words resonated with many, sparking a wave of protests and demonstrations across the country. He said that Congo should be free right away. Lumumba's demand for immediate independence was a bold and courageous stance. He believed that the Congolese people had the right to govern themselves and determine their own future. His unwavering commitment to this cause made him a symbol of hope and resistance for many in Congo. Congo became free in 1960, and Lumumba was its first prime minister. This was a historic moment for Congo, marking the end of colonial rule and the beginning of a new chapter in the nation's history. As Prime Minister, Lumumba faced numerous challenges, but his leadership and vision were instrumental in guiding the country through its early days of independence. Because he fought so hard for freedom, he became a hero. Lumumba's legacy continues to inspire generations of Congolese and people around the world. His dedication to the cause of independence and his unwavering belief in the rights of his people have cemented his place in history as a true hero and a symbol of the struggle for freedom. In the 1950s and 1960s, lots of African countries fought for their freedom. A very important event was the 5th Pan-African Congress in Manchester in 1945. Important leaders like Hastings Banda, Kwame Nkrumah, and Jomo Kenyatta met there. They talked about how African countries should be free and work together. It helped them make plans for the future. The year 1960 was a big year. 17 African countries became free that year. This showed that the world was changing. The new countries had a lot of problems. Their economies weren't strong, and they had problems with different groups of people not getting along. It was hard to build a new country because of the damage caused by the European rulers. Even with these problems, many leaders tried to make things better. They wanted to build countries where everyone was equal and could take care of themselves. It wasn't easy, but they didn't give up. Just because the European countries left didn't mean everything was fixed. Many African countries had new problems. It was hard to keep things peaceful, and they still needed help from the European countries. The dream of a strong and united Africa, which the early leaders had, was still far away. But people still wanted a better future and didn't give up. The fight for true freedom wasn't over. The fight for freedom in Africa showed how brave and strong African people are. It changed Africa and inspired the whole world. The leaders who fought for freedom are remembered as heroes. They still inspire people today to fight for what is right. Africa is still working towards being truly free. It's hard, but there is still hope. The dream of a strong and united Africa is still important for the future.